Welcome to Boss Up Babes, helping babes show up, boss up, and thrive. With #1 best-selling author, global influencer, and ultimate boss babe, Karissa Adkins. Karissa is a health and wellness expert and CEO of the 365 Daily Hustle, here to help mompreneurs and career-focused women boss up and reclaim their healthiest life. She is a pro at cutting through the BS and inspiring massive breakthroughs that help women create healthy routines and habits that facilitate personal and professional growth. Are you ready to reclaim your best life, take action, and be a badass boss babe? Let's get to it.
What's up, everyone? It's your favorite boss up babe, Karissa Adkins, and I am your master coach in all things certified in life, health, and fitness. And in case you are new to the show, Boss Up Babes really just showcases, bi-weekly, we showcase in-depth interviews with the world's leading powerhouse babes that are getting shit done on all levels of the playing field. We're not just talking fitness and health, we're talking business, mindset, trauma, etc. So we definitely take a deep dive into topics that include money and relationships and sex and business and health and resiliency, because that's what women need to hear. They need to hear real conversations about real topics that are affecting us. And it's time. I can feel it. It's time to boss up to the next level of awesomeness. And I can't think of a better guest to bring on today. Now, today we're taking a deep dive into all things health and fitness with owner and founder of Booty Bands and Barbells, the amazing Danita Young. Our conversation, I promise, will include discussions about weight loss, metabolism, easy ways to stay in shape, because we all know it's hard to do these days, juggling all kinds of things. And then, of course, like normal, we are going to wrap up the show at that second half with quick fire tips and strategies that can help busy women get in shape, stay in shape forever. So quick intro on Danita. She's a personal trainer, a national qualified bikini competitor, a model, a dance instructor, a coach, a mentor. You guys, the list goes on and on. But Danita, right? She wasn't always fit. I did my homework. She wasn't always happy and successful. In fact, for several years, she suffered with the toxic weight loss loop, like so many women that I know, get struggled in. They find themselves in this rut. And she has discovered how lasting transformations come with specific and personalized guidance instead of that one size fits all approach BS. And I'm so glad that we're going to bunk all of that today. So with that, Danita, welcome to the Boss Up Babe show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
100%. I'm really, really excited to, again, pick another expert in the same industry that I'm in. I absolutely love picking other people's brains that have gone through a transformation, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, and you, girlfriend, have done it. So before we kind of dive into your story, because I am curious, I read it and I saw a little bit, but nothing beats a good storytelling. I am curious, what does the word boss up mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great one. Boss up to me, I feel like when you run a company, that your company doesn't grow as much until you personally grow yourself. And so I think that's the level of boss up, is personally work on your own self-development, so that way the other areas of your life can grow as well.
Ah, so good. You guys, that is so perfect. And it is so true. I feel like it's like a staircase, and we need a boss up, which takes courageous action. It takes taking risks, and you're like, I don't know, but I'm going to trust, and I'm going to have faith and, in God and the divine, or whatever, whatever higher power you believe in. And then you get to that step and you're like coasting, you're like, this feels good. And then you go again. Right. And it's just like, it's an ultimate staircase that leads us just to ultimate greatness. And I do believe that it does all start with, giving yourself permission to boss up. And that is a habit. And we're going to definitely talk about that. But before we dive in any further, I want to know, tell me about a time in your life where you had to boss up and overcome a difficult situation, or tell me about your story.
Yeah, absolutely. This is my first business, so it was extremely difficult for me, being obviously my first time being an entrepreneur. And I obviously would call myself not a natural entrepreneur. It's something that came quite difficult for me. I would find myself always to be a generally happy person. I felt like I've never hit depression in my life. I had a pretty easy life come my way. And then I ran a business, and wow, did that sure all change for me. So what happened is I opened about 5 years ago, 2017 is when I opened the original Booty Bands, trademark, patented, all that fun stuff. And what ended up happening is we had sold thousands of product, and I was on cloud 10 and just super excited that like, wow, I cannot believe how much product are going viral around the world. And we really put our name out there to help women really round lift shape their booty. And then what ended up happening was the product I had created started breaking. We were essentially using rubber underneath the bands and then fabric on top. And when you sew through rubber, it essentially creates holes over time. And so with wear, they would eventually break. But all over our website, we were basically marketing ourselves as never breaking bands. Well, my first time, obviously being an entrepreneur, having my face all over the industry, it was very traumatizing to actually have a ton of members come back and say, you're a fraud, you're a scam, you're absolutely terrible, don't buy from this company. My ratings and everything went down. It was probably one of the most difficult times in my life. And the first time I actually would say I faced depression. Sure. And I just went into my bed, I pulled the covers up, and I just said, I don't want to face the reality of what's happening. And I didn't have any control over it. And I had just shipped so much out there. I had so much rubber in my warehouse. And for about 3 days straight, I just stayed in that really low funk until one day I said, you know what? I have an option. And here's the quote I live by. So, we do not have to be perfect to inspire others. We inspire others with how we handle our imperfections. And so what I did that day, after 3 days of depression, I stood up and I said, I'm going to sell my car. I'm going to take out my 401k. I'm going to take out all my savings. And I'm going to wipe out all of my current warehouse of rubber. I'm going to replace it with elastic. So I rented a U-Haul. I went up to LA. I wiped all of LA of all the elastic they had. I came back down. I remade the bands, and I opened up what's called our Facebook group and let everybody in that was my members and said, hey, if you've had a broken band, go ahead and send me a picture and I'll replace it for free. Wow. And so that is where the original community actually started 5 years ago. Well, probably about 4 years ago is when the community started. But that's actually in one of my darkest, deepest struggles is what ended up being the most blossoming. We're rated the #1 most supportive and inspiring Facebook communities that are out there now.
That's so amazing and actually very hard to do. And what sounds like is that you pioneered this, because I'll be honest, you guys, like Facebook groups and membership, like this was probably not a huge thing back then. So you were pioneering that. And I will say, like, yes, nowadays everyone has some sort of elastic band that they travel with. And if you're not, and you're like making those excuses of how you can't stay fit on vacation or you can't stay fit while you're traveling in hotels, I'm going to say it right now. That is a bunch of bull crap, because Danita literally sent me her bands, her barbell, and I'm able to take it anywhere. I mean, not the barbell, of course. I can't lug that, and I'm not taking that through the airport, but I do love it. But those bands, they are so easy. So I'm actually curious, like what inspired you to even get into the fitness industry? You said you once were you always fit, healthy? What was that?
Yeah, what really sparked it for me was like I said, as you were doing the introduction, I had struggled with my own weight loss loop, and I was doing the excessive cardio. I was trying to take out the carbohydrates. I was counting all my calories. I was doing everything that the weight loss industry was like, all right, this is how you do it, right? And I was doing fat loss pills. I was doing appetite suppressants. I had tried so many programs and just felt like I just wasn't seeing the results I wanted to see. Right. And I just felt like I was always in this yo-yo, and my mind was going with my body. So it felt like this total exhaustion going back and forth with mind and body. And it wasn't until I hired a coach, and I was 29 years old. And I was about ready to hit my 30s. And I said, I'm just done with dealing with this. And I hired a coach and I said, I want to try a bikini competition. It's a super far outreach. And I had already told myself it's my genetics, it's my age. There's got to be something, the reason why I'm broken, why it wasn't working for me. So I hired a coach and I went 3 months into this journey with him. And I would tell him all the time, I'm like, I don't want to eat 5-6 meals a day. Please. Like I'll skip meals. Like, please don't make me lift this much weight. I feel like I'm going to get bulky. Like I resisted so much. And so I see why other women resist this, because they're very not familiar with that. And so anyways, I jumped on stage. I'm winning the trophies. I've never felt like I stepped into my best body ever. But then I was looking around, I was comparing my body against other women. And I thought, I will never do this ever again. Instead, I'm going to teach women what I've learned from doing this and give them the tools and the resources that they need moving forward. So that's where it actually started.
And that's so, oh my God, and we'll definitely dive into this on the second half. But you guys, if you're listening and you're like, wait, I've tried pills and I've tried diets and I've done this low carb, no carb, exercise, cardio, burn calories. Oh my God. Like if you're stuck in this overwhelm, it's exhausting first off. So just recognize it. But that's that one size fits all, right? So the health and fitness culture right now, it really does suck. It preaches that you need all this stuff, expensive equipment, Pelotons, like, yes, it's great, but these are tools, right? But it preaches what health looks like. If you want to be successful, you need to be a size 0. It preaches so much crap, and it's not your fault. I mean, this is a multi-million, like this is a $55 million industry that, that we are in. And their job is to like sell us on their quick fixes for us to try it, right? So that loop is, I feel really excited. I'm trying something new. You do it. You're like, this is crappy. I feel like low energized. I don't feel like myself. I feel like I can't have certain foods. Like this is just crappy. And then you quit, right? And then it makes you feel like a failure. And then you gain 10 times the way back, right? Like this is the loop that Danita was talking about. And so many of our clients are on this loop, and we're like, get off the freaking hamster loop, come over to the healthier side of losing weight and getting into the best shape of your life. So you guys keep that in mind. We're going to talk more about that, the highs and lows, metabolism. We're coming in with all of that, those great tips and strategies. But really quick, we're going to take a hot break and we'll be back with Danita. 365 Daily Hustle is a global health coaching company helping purpose-driven women boss up and get healthy so that they can truly show up and thrive in the world. We help women lose weight, gain energy, and feel sexy and confident in their bodies. We help women create sustainable habits that support a positive mindset, nutrition, exercise plans, stress relief, and of course, self-care. If you're tired of feeling like a failure when it comes to your weight loss and health goals, please visit our website at 365dailyhustle.com or join the Healthy Hustle Facebook community today for healthy tips, recipes, workouts, and more. Hey, you guys, we are back, and I am talking with the amazing boss babe, Danita Young, founder and I think owner, right, of Barbells and Booty Bands. And I just love saying that, actually. It just kind of rolls off your tongue. I've been saying it and practicing it all morning. I'm like, I like it. You guys, the first half of the show, if you missed it, go back, right? Like, it's so important to understand why or how us entrepreneurs got started. Things were not always easy, and she revealed a big like whopper that I had no idea that she faced. So definitely go back and listen to that. But the second half is one of my favorites. You guys know it's all about the strategies and the tips and the no BS approach for today's episode, the no BS approach to health and fitness. So Danita, I want to welcome you back to BossUp Babes. And because I sometimes forget about this because I get so excited about those strategies. Where can people find you? Like, what's the best contact way that if they're like, what's this Barbells and what is this? Where can they find more information about you?
Bootybands.com.
Even simpler. So where did the Barbells come in then? Was it always Booty Bands?
Right before 2020, shockingly enough, I was working out in a studio right behind me. It's a very small area. And I was teaching the girls online how to do the workouts, and I was using a barbell, but I had to actually cut it because every time it was an 8-foot long barbell that I bought, and I had to cut it down in half and be able to like move in my small space. Well, it was so brilliant that a lot of other customers were like, wait a minute, where did you get this barbell? And I was like, oh, I made it. And they were like, I want one. And that's how it rolled.
Really? Wow, you guys, like, wow, like in the office, right? In the tiny, probably 10 by 10 room, you came up with this brilliant idea. Would you say you sell more bands, barbells, or dumbbells? Or
We sell, our biggest sales is definitely our basic barbell and our 4-pack of booty bands. That's, I would say those are our 2 biggest ones.
I love it. And you guys, she sent me, like a pack, and I freaking love them. I need to do some videos for her. I promised her I would, but yeah, I'm just like, cause I don't, I'm in the gym, I'm in the strength, I lift, and I'm like, how good of a workout can I really get with some bands? Hello, my glutes are on fire. So thank you, Danita. I thought of you for like a whole 4 days after that workout. Oh, you guys, I love it. I love it. All right. So yo-yo dieting and this crazy weight loss, like highs and lows that women go through, it does kill our metabolism. Do you want to go into this a little bit? Because that's like a big thing, right? Well, as we age, women are like, oh, my metabolism is slowing down because I'm in my 40s, or my doctor told me to expect my metabolism to slow down. Like, let's just kind of debunk some of this a little bit right now.
Yeah, for sure. So we know that after the age of 30, we're losing about 3 to 5% of our muscle mass every single decade. And so that's just with age. That's not including the members that I hear are skipping meals, not getting protein in every one of their meals, and only doing cardio for workouts. So really, it can actually, that percentage can be so much higher. And that's the shocking truth, that a lot of women can be up to 10% muscle decline every single decade. And so every 10 years, what you're seeing is you're losing this muscle mass. And you think to yourself, well, why? Oh, maybe I'll get smaller if I'm losing my muscle. No, your muscle is your metabolism. Your muscle is your fat burning machine. And so when you're losing it, you are losing this whole ability to really like lose fat in your sleep and just have this higher resting metabolic rate, et cetera, et cetera. So you can tell the passion's coming out. Yeah. I re-educate women that as they're getting older, this is the most crucial time to have protein in every one of your meals and to use the resistance and lift weights. It is very, very important.
I love that. You guys, she mentioned such an important key to success, right? She mentioned 3, if you didn't catch it. I will go back and kind of claim some of those. But like when you strength train, first off, like you're not going to become the Hulk overnight, right? If you've seen my before and afters, my pictures, my bulk, I've been working on growing muscle for years. Right. So if your fear of, I don't want to work out or use strength training or body, any type of equipment besides cardio machines, that's just not the case. I mean, you have to be on some high level supplements and in the gym hours and hours to get the Arnold look. Okay. So it's just not going to happen. But she did mention one of my favorite things, which is why I'm a huge lifter. Like every freaking day I'm lifting. But it's like we're building muscle, right? And I like to say muscle burns fat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like your muscle is literally food prepping your fat while you sleep, and it's getting rid of it. It's going, so the more muscle you have, that's that toned look that you want, that everyone's craving, the tone and definition, but not bulk. Like it's not going to happen unless you've spent years and years and tons of money, tons of energy and effort. And according to Danita and I mean, you don't need that, right? Like that's another fitness myth, is that you need to be in the gym for hours and hours of the day to get into the best shape of your life. Danita, how many hours do you work out? How many minutes do you suggest?
Yeah. So what we know is when you're weightlifting, you can actually burn way more calories than if you were just doing cardio alone. So if you were doing, let's say 30 minutes of cardio, you're only burning the calories within that 30-minute session. Right. However, if you're doing resistance training, you can be burning calories up to 24 to 48 hours after your workout because your muscles have to repair themselves. So you essentially are working smarter, not harder. And that's what I didn't know in my 20s. Yeah. And I'm still educating women that are even up in their 60s that are still just learning this. And I'm like, girl, get on the track of building that lean muscle, because that's going to be your best friend overall and everything. So the answer to your question, was, what'd you ask me?
How many hours, minutes a day do
Oh.
you work out?
Well, I laugh that one because eventually what happens is that, yes, at the very beginning, I was doing a lot more. I was probably doing like 45 minutes. I'm at a point now that I have an app that I just do 15-minute workouts for my members. For those that are just busy boss babes that just need to get it in. So I focus more on the consistency part rather than having to be so AKA perfect. So I kind of get rid of this all in, all out mentality and let them find the balance in their life of what works for them. So for me, about 15, 20 minutes is my jam.
Yes. And everyone is so different, right? Like, so my clients, they come to me and they're like, oh, but you're lifting for an hour and 20 minutes. And I'm like, well, first off, it includes my warm up, it includes my cool down and my stretch and my breath work at the end. But that's something I love to do, right? Like I'm a 4 a.m.er. Like I love lifting. I love getting that in at that time, but I love to lift, right? But everyone's goals are so different. And that's what we all need to remember is we need to stop comparing ourselves, our bodies, our lives, our progress to, our friends, our neighbors, and honestly, all of those, social influencers on Instagram that have probably never, ever really experienced, a ton of crazy things. They just are like, yeah, I can show a squat and try and get 1,000 bazillion likes. But yeah, so everyone is so different, you guys. So I personally love a solid hour and 20, but that to me is my therapy, right? Like I'm not in there anymore to build more muscle, or I'm not going to be a bodybuilder. I'd never want to do that. But I am in there for that consistency, that every single day consistency. So I would 100% agree with Danita on that. And that will trump, the all or nothing for 60 days of hardcore boot camp. And then you stop because it's not consistent. It's just like dieting. It's like not sustainable. So I would say build a fun exercise program that's full of like balance and stretching. Yes, cardio is great for our heart. So we need that. But I think women over 40, especially, right? We need strength training for that to help with that bone density. It's huge. I'm like, oh, ladies, get into the other side of the gym, I promise. And what's cool about your stuff, though, is that you don't even have to go into a gym because there's a lot of women who are not comfortable yet. They don't have the confidence yet. I mean, I remember, get this, I was in the gym. And I won't tell you which gym. It was a military facility though. And I was in there and I went to pick up like 15-pound dumbbells, right? And as I'm picking up the dumbbell off the rack, a gentleman comes up to me and says, excuse me, you're on the wrong side of the gym. And I was like, let me take out my headphones because I think you're talking to me first off. So I take them out and I'm like, excuse me. And he's like, oh, the pink weights are in the aerobics room. I think that's where you belong. And I was like, oh, no, you didn't. And I made sure I outbenched that dude before I left that base. I was like, no way is this man telling me that I belong in a different part of the gym. So I get that. I know how awkward and uncomfortable it can be going into that side. But what I loved about Danita's bands is, I can take them anywhere. And as a busy boss babe who's traveling and, taking stages everywhere and in and out of air, I literally popped your bands out of my carry-on and I was doing some stuff because I had an 8-hour layover and people just were like, are you kidding me? I'm like, yeah, that's me, right? Because I'm just bored at that point. So I might as well. But yeah, I love your bands, right? They're easy. You can take them anywhere. You mentioned videos and apps. Like obviously that's the second thing that women don't have is like this plan. They have no idea what to do with these bands. So how do you teach them how to use the bands?
Well, why we're different, obviously our products are very unique and we're the original. But what makes us unique is we're very personalized. So when anyone comes onto our store and buys something, they actually get a 15-minute call with a coach and they sit down. It's a certified personal training coach that will sit down and go over what their goals are, what they're currently doing, and how to fast track and get them to their goals a lot faster. So we'll actually build out a routine for you. So we have the tools and all the resources there. So as soon as you get a product, you don't feel like, what do I do with this now? We definitely give you those tools on the next steps.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's go into what do you think women are missing when it comes to getting healthy and staying fit forever? Like, what do you think is the biggest thing that they're missing?
I think the biggest thing that they're missing would be, we kind of covered majority of it, but I think instead of thinking of weight loss, I would say focus on fat loss. Because with weight loss, you're losing three things. You're losing water, fat, and muscle. And when you're losing that muscle, you're essentially losing that fat burning machine. And so if you're really trying to look for a more sustainable way, try to think fat loss and start to really build that lean muscle. And then also, again, at this all in, all out mentality, I really teach women about finding that balance again, because extremes is kind of what we live in this weight loss world. It's like, okay, in 10 days, we're going to lose 100 pounds. Like there's so much extremes that are out there. Cut all carbs. Like that's so extreme. Are you kidding me? Like how sustainable is that? And so I think just really being able to find that middle balance and really ask yourself, okay, what's my overall goal? And then what do I need to do in a year from now? What do I need to do from 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a month from now? What do I need to do this week to focus on my goal? And really breaking that down allows people to kind of take that bigger picture of weight loss or whatever their goal is and really be able to make it simplified. And that would be my answer for that.
I love that. The reframe and the fresh perspective from the amazing Danita. Okay, I think I've got time. One last, give me one tip to help women sculpt and shape their best booty and body.
Yeah, well, obviously the booty bands, what's so great about them is when you have it on your legs during your workouts, you will actually target all 3 areas of the glutes. So the medius, the minimus, and the maximus. And it's like you were saying, you're going to feel the burn. And so when you're feeling the burn, what you're doing is you're activating the muscles to be able to break down so it can build up and reshape. And so that would be my suggestion. Just make sure that you're lifting the weights, you're putting protein in every one of your meals. You can do the cardio. It's great for your heart and for endurance. But if you're really trying to sculpt and shape your body, get into those weights for sure.
I love that. Yeah. Get off all the cardio machines. I mean, unless you're a marathon runner, that's the one thing that I have to train for is when my girlfriends will say, let's do a 5K. I'm like, oh, I've got to train for that. And then they just look at me. They're like, aren't you in the best shape of your life? Why can't you just run? I'm like, I don't like it. It's not for me. I like lifting. I like HIIT classes. I like kickboxing. I like things that, get me sweating besides being on elliptical or a treadmill or a stair climber. I love that. So many great tips and advice and finding that balance and what works for you in your lifestyle is huge. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being such an amazing guest on my show. And I truly appreciate, your time and your energy into it. And if you guys are listening and you are like, okay, I'm all on board for sculpting that booty, working those legs, all that good stuff, definitely reach out to Danita, or it's bootybands.com. And if you're looking for community and support, she obviously has a great community membership, I think, is what I read. But if you're also looking for a different, just another source, you can always join the Healthy Hustle Facebook group. That's my Facebook group. That's my community. It's free. There's workouts, there's recipes, there's mindset, there's meditation, full body, mind, and fitness. You guys know that's what I'm all about. But anyways, Danita, thank you so much again for being such an amazing guest on the show. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you for listening to Boss Up Babes with Karissa Adkins, bringing you tangible tips and expert coaching advice to help you boss up and get healthy. Tune in every second and fourth Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com for interviews with industry leaders and powerhouse boss babes that will empower you to take action and live your best life. If you're ready to boss up and work with Karissa in one of her transformative group coaching programs, visit 365dailyhustle.com.